Revelation 4:2 says, then I saw 7 angels who stand before God, and 7 trumpets were given to them. Then I saw 7 angels who stand before God. This is an important question that I really want to dive into today, and I'll try not to take too much time because it's a live topic. It's a big topic you can talk about for a long time, and I don't want to go too long because we're studying all of Revelation chapter 8. Who are the 7 angels who are standing before God? And the reason it's important that we answer this is because it says, then I saw the 7 angels who stand before God. Not 7 angels who stand before God, the 7 angels who stand before God. Do you remember what the angel Gabriel said to Zechariah, the father of John the Baptist, when he met him in the temple to let him know that his wife Elizabeth was about to conceive and bring forth a son who would go before the Lord? And Zechariah sort of said, how could this be? He didn't respond with robust faith. He responded with a little bit of doubt, and he had to deal with the consequences of that. What Gabriel said to him was, I am Gabriel, and I stand in the presence of God. I stand in his presence. Back at the very beginning of our first series on Revelation, it's actually when our series on Revelation was called 2 for 10, our original Revelation series. In part 3 of that series, I talked about the 7 spirits who are before the throne of God. This echoes all the way back to Revelation chapter 1, verse, I believe it's verse 4. It is verse 4. Grace to you and peace from him who is and who was and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits who are before his throne. That's Revelation 1:4. And we talked about who the 7 spirits are before God's throne. And they are more than likely one of 2 things. They either come from Isaiah chapter 11, and what Isaiah and what commentators refer to as the 7-fold Spirit of God from Isaiah 11. That text is a prophecy about the Messiah. So it's actually about Jesus, right? The 7-fold Spirit that will rest upon Messiah. Or they are the 7 archangels, who are not necessarily known to a lot of Christians, but who were very, very, very well known to any Jew who lived during the life of Jesus. The time period that Jesus lived, the historical time period in which he lived, is known from a Jewish perspective as Second Temple Judaism. Jesus lived during this time period when the Second Temple, the temple built by Herod, was up. It had been erected, and people who were Jewish people who were living in the land, who had come back mostly from exile, were coming to the temple often. This time period that Jesus lived in is called Second Temple Judaism. And during that time period, almost any Jewish person who was devout in any sort of way would have known who the 7 angels who stand before God's throne are, because they are mentioned specifically in the book of Enoch. Okay, bear with me. I'm not about to tell you that you should go read all of Enoch or that it should be canonical. But they're also mentioned in the book of Tobit, which is in many actually Christian Bibles. It's in the Catholic Bible. It's in, I believe, the Orthodox Bible. It's in different Ethiopic Bibles. So there's some apocryphal books like Tobit, and then there's also Enoch that mention these 7 angels who stand before the throne of God. These are the 7 archangels. A couple years ago on the podcast, we did a series on the book of Jude. And the reason that that's important for this conversation is because in that series, we talked about the book of Enoch. We spent a whole episode specifically talking about the book of Enoch because Jude, who was the brother of Jesus, quotes directly from the book of Enoch in his letter, which is in your Bible. We called the series The Forgotten Book of Jude because there's so few people today who actually read the book of Jude, even though it's might be my favorite book in the whole Bible. I love the book of Jude. You can't go more than a verse without coming across some Old Testament reference that you have to then go look up and dig into. It's an amazing book, and it includes one of the most glorious doxologies in the whole Bible. Now unto him who is able to keep you from stumbling. It's amazing. So Jude, who was the brother of Jesus, who wrote a book that's in your New Testament, quoted from the book of Enoch. I do not believe that that means that we should include Enoch in the Christian canon, but I do believe that it teaches us that there are historical references in Enoch that are true. And one of them is his reference to the 7 archangels who stand before God's throne. And the reason I really think that this should be given credence is because John mentions them right here. John saw the 7 archangels, the 7 angels specifically, who stand before God's throne when he saw his heavenly vision. I don't know what more you need to know than that. What Enoch describes as the 7 archangels, I think those 7 archangels are the 7 angels who stand before God's throne. The book of Tobit says that they are the 7 angels who stand before God's throne. In the book of Tobit, one of the angels named Raphael is talking. He said, I am one of the 7 who stand before God's throne. We meet 2 of them by name elsewhere in the Bible, Michael and Gabriel. But Enoch mentions the other 5. If you want to know more about this, please go check out our series on the book of Jude. It's a 5-part podcast series. You can go to our website, thatyoumayknowhim.com/listen. If you type Jude in the search box, all 5 episodes will pop up. You can listen from start to finish. I go through the entire book of Jude verse by verse, and I even spend one special episode on the book of Enoch, and I give you all my thoughts on the book of Enoch, which I'm not going to do here, but I hope that you will go and listen to that series. Jude is such a great book, and it's so underrated. Let me read you really quickly from Enoch chapter 20, verses 1 through 8. This is what he says. These are the names of the angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels who presides over clamor and terror. Raphael, one of the holy angels who presides over the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who inflicts punishment on the world and the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels who, presiding over human virtue, commands the nations. Serachiel, one of the holy angels who presides over the spirits of the children of men that transgress. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who presides over Ikasat, over paradise, and over the cherubim. And Remiel, one of the holy angels who God set over those who rise. So, do I believe that Enoch should be included in our Christian canon? No, not really. But I don't believe it's a hill that I'm willing to die on, that's for sure. Do I believe that Enoch includes true and reliable history that's important for people who read the Bible and who are drawing near to God through his word? They should understand the history that Enoch has to teach us. Yes, to the end that you use Jude and John as your guides. Use the biblical writers who refer to books like Enoch and Tobit to be your guide. The history that they believed, you should believe. If there's history in there that they did not believe, I don't think you should believe it. Okay, real quickly, let's breeze through the first 4 trumpets.